My 8-year-old tried to fake me out at bedtime. Just landed. These 8 jots had the wrong headphones on the entire flight. He watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and she watched Barbie's Dream House. But the headphones were to the wrong iPad, so each listened to the opposite audio. 4-hour flight. I'm not putting any more money in their college fund. This award for originality goes to my 6th grade student that tried to sneak his Apple Watch into class by telling me he is on house arrest and has a court date. Shake my head. Give me that watch and it's detention, sir. Could hear a faint scream. I started to panic. Ran to the noise. Turned a corner and found this. Congrats, kid. Never actually seen anyone do this in real life. Duck around and find out. It was me. I was the ducking stupid. A big note from I don't need Dinah. I can eat paper. P.S. C. How do you tell your mom that you got a hammer stuck in your mouth? My kid's been wishing for a basketball for Christmas every day for months. When he discovered this present today, he exclaimed, I know what it is. It's a chocolate ball. Had a phase as a kid where I would carry around heat sauce in a holster. Hide and seek with my 2-year-old. I wrote this when I was 8. My family is atheist. December 9th, 2008. My family and I celebrate Christmas. Christmas is celebrated on December 25th every year. We celebrate Christmas because that's when Jason was born. Jesus. I celebrate Christmas by having dinner together. We also decorate a Christmas tree. My grandpa takes out a small Christmas tree. Then we decorate our front yard with many things. Sometimes we go to a store to buy gifts for our friends. On Christmas, we might build a snowman if it snows. My girlfriend works with children at an after-school program. She found this gem made by a 7-year-old maid. We are framing it. I'm duck. You are a duck. Me turns on the family's newest Netflix obsession, of which we are 5 episodes in. 8-year-old. Wait. Why does she have the same name as Wednesday from the Addams Family? My little cousin said he drew a picture of me. I'm gay. He happened to write, I hate flies on the page too because we were at a restaurant with a lot of flies. My aunt almost lost it before he explained. Roblox in 2018. When I was 9 or 10 years old, I loved playing Roblox in high school on Roblox. It's a game where you can make characters and roleplay as them. At the time I was obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's and there was this character called Purple Guy. He was one of my favorites and I always played as him. Also, I was not fluent in English yet. I'm Serbian. As soon as I put his name as my nickname, people started attacking me saying you're guy, who were having no idea what they were saying. I just replied with, yes guy, purple guy, and people kept bullying me. I then left the game, logged out and didn't play Roblox for a month. Turns out I didn't know how to spell guy. A dad who found mysterious scratches on the bonnet of his new car discovered it was his own son clearing the snow with a shovel. His 7-year-old boy wanted to help him by clearing the snow, but instead caused over £1,000 worth of damage. Dad Humphrey said, it wasn't until Wednesday that I saw the scratches. They're absolutely terrible, massive scrapes. I checked the cameras to see what happened, and then my son was using a shovel he found outside from building work we were doing to get the snow off. He said he thought it would be satisfying. Bless him. The ironic thing is that the car wasn't even going anywhere. He just wanted to help out. When I was 13, I ordered a 4-cheese quesadilla at a restaurant thinking I was getting 4 cheese quesadillas. I proceeded to not eat it since it had 4 cheeses in it. My 9-year-old sister's secret stash of Captain Crunch in her bathroom. My kid's favorite present is a raw egg. My brother-in-law handed him. He has zero interest in actual presents. Dad, look, I cut my hair. Well, there goes any more Christmas pictures this year. My son's biggest fear. When I was a kid, there was a presentation in my school about instruments. A girl played the violin and then proceeded to explain that violins grow with you. I stopped listening and just assumed for 5 years that violins were like an animal that grew with you to fit you. I only realized it when I started having violin classes and I had to get a new one because it was too small for me. I was stupid. Kid I found on Geometry-Sub-Zero reviews. This is trash. Can you please delete one of your levels? I'm angry. No one should play it. Why the wave is so hard? This game should be deleted. Only joking. 70,000 is how I lose. Man, I hate this game. I turn no game anymore. You don't realize how people lose. One chance, you better delete. Okay. You better delete Power Trip or I angry. I wish all levels will be auto. After you nerfed you, this is so hard. I hate Wave and Spider. My nephew got himself stuck in a dustbin. My 3-year-old nephew found the best hide and seek spot, lol. I told my wife this would happen, but she didn't believe me. Writing swears in Mad Libs is a coming of age tradition for little boys. LMRO. Mad Libs Santa's wish list. Nut. My nut wife, Mrs. Nut. While most of the nuts around the world send their Christmas lists to me, I'm the only lucky nut who gets to send my Christmas list to you, the nut Mrs. Claus. I was very good nuts this year, so I hope you'll get me the one present I'd really love. Going on nut adventures with you, my one true nut. We can go camping in the nut beach. We can take a cruise to the nut river. We can even stay home and sit by the fireplace while we read books about nut or play card games like Go Nuts and Old Nut. I don't care where we are or what we do, so long as I get to sit with you. Merry Christmas, your sweet duck, Santa. Woke up and found my little brother taped my TV remote and alarm clock. I love this kid, but what the duck? Once when I was 5, I was climbing a fence right next to a windowsill. I fell and split both lips on the windowsill, and if I remember correctly, I chipped a tooth. Blood was pouring out of my lips and I went to the emergency room overnight, getting tons of stitches. I couldn't eat solid food for weeks. I usually just ate ice cream. Anyway, when I got better, I climbed the same fence. Poor child. Fun story, when I was around 10-11, my parents bought a new jar of peanut butter and I wanted to see how deep the jar was. Instead of doing the obvious and measuring it with a ruler, I decided to stick a pencil into the peanut butter and measure it that way. They had to throw the whole jar away. I wrote this on the back of a calendar page and mailed it to my grandmother when I was 10 for some reason. Safe to say I was a weird kid. Out of season. No good reason. Changes may always seem to happen. Birds' wings not always flapping. If you hunt them out of season, get arrested for no good reason. If you fail to pay the bail, then your permanent home will be jail. 97. When I was a kid, I didn't realize that the song I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus meant that daddy was Santa Claus. I was like, holy shit, mom is an adulterer. Younger cousin insists on painting my fingertips instead of my nails. Trying to teach my niece US history. When was the US founded? 2018. She found out she has lips. Toddler's sister says something. Brother mishears her. You have lips? TS. No, I don't have lips. When I was little, my father tried to teach me English with VHS and English. I only found it annoying around 7 to 8 years old. Before, I'm not sure I noticed that I didn't understand the dialogues. It was a dumb idea I snapped in English until I was 20. When I was a kid, I once wanted to skip class, but had to have a good reason to do so. So called and I got hurt on my bike and need stitches. And then the next day, I took white gauze and put some ketchup in it to mimic blood and then wrapped it around my arm to show I was really injured. And then the ketchup started smelling. So had to put deodorant to make the smell. The lengths I had to do to get that letter of absence was just so dumb. I went to a real shut high school between 05 to 09. They really didn't give a shut best. Exemplified by the year 11th or 12th English classes which were mandatory by the state, but there was like no curriculum, so we spent most of our time watching movies or in the computer lab playing like Quake or Unreal Tournament. Also my physical education class amounted to the teacher handing us the answers to the written work when it was required, so we could spend most of the time playing sports which had no grading attached to it. In 4th grade we were all heavy on Yu-Gi-Oh cards until there started being conflicts with trades, so they banned them. We came back around late 4th grade with Beyblades as the new thing and all seemed to be in good fun for a while. It got competitive, but it kept us busy and our teacher didn't mind that we did this during our free time. There was some trading, but the value wasn't really there since it wasn't random packs. Most of us just bugged our parents to buy whichever ones we wanted. Until this one mother ducker found a Beyblade forum on which he discovered the meter that was 100 times better than just making random Beyblades. He came in one day with this jury-rigged monstrosity that was completely unbeatable, and it sent the autistic kid, who always had a 1:1 sitter, into a total rage where he escaped through the classroom window and ran off into the woods. And that was the end of Beyblades. When I was young we went to a really terrible Baptist church. One of my friend's parents had banned Pokemon cards, but not Yu-Gi-Oh, which has a lot more dark magic / spoopy evil demon stuff, because the church had said Pokemon was bad, but hadn't caught on to Yu-Gi-Oh yet. So dumb. I'm still Christian, but I don't proclaim it half as readily as I used to because the beautiful core tenets of kindness and humility have been replaced by stupidity and hate in so many places. I had my cough confiscated in 6th grade because I pulled the tube out of my bag to show some kid who then proceeded to knock me out. They confiscate them and tell me I can come back on the last day of school with a parent to retrieve them. We show up the last day of school and magically my shut is gone. As we were leaving the office there was a yellow sticky note with my name on it on the ground. Some asshole claimed my shut and they didn't bother or care to verify who it was. I'm 40 now and still carry a bitter resentment towards Ms. Barr and the middle school I attended. Butch, I can see why your race was Ms. instead of Mrs. We weren't allowed phones in school when I was there. We had this one teacher that went scorched earth on any student she saw with one. I remember a friend of mine had stayed after school hours for some club or to work on something with group because he lived part way out of town and couldn't easily come back in. He takes the bus home because of this, but since he stayed late he was calling him mom to come pick him up. This teacher happened to be walking by. It was nowhere near her classroom. Saw him on the phone and demanded he give it to her while he was talking to his mother. He basically said, "Do you want to talk to her? Keep in mind this is at like 4:30 PM. Class has been out for over an hour at this point." She backed down, but it was a pretty solid example of how she was. Really nice teacher, but she'd probably elbow you in the jaw if she saw your phone. I got my son one of those kids smartwatches when he was in grade 3 that I could set during school time. He couldn't call or text during class, but could during breaks and after school, except if it was an emergency. There was a button on it. If held down for a few seconds it would directly call me. Well, one day, that emergency call happened. My phone showed my son's name and emergency, and with my heart in my throat I picked up asking what's wrong, and I heard my son's voice and 2 other child voices, taking turns saying guacamole back and forth, pronouncing it in various funny ways. He must have leaned on the button accidentally. I hung up and struggled the rest of the day, trying to decide what was the right parenting move. Do I bring up the fact that he and his friends weren't paying attention to the teacher or his work? Long story long, I made guacamole and chips for an after school snack. When he asked what it was, I said guacamole. I had a feeling you wanted some today. And he looked at me like I could read minds. My brother's first word was ball. That year for Christmas my parents bought him a ball and wrapped it up without putting it in a box or anything. I said, "He's obviously gonna know what that is." And they were like, "He's literally 2 years old, he won't be able to figure it out." Christmas Day he saw it, screamed ball and kicked the unwrapped football into the Christmas tree, completely unaware he was supposed to unwrap it. It was glorious. One of my mom's friends knew a kid who pronounced truck as duck and liked pointing out all the trucks he saw. Apparently, the kid once said, "Look at all the little ducks," trying to point out some trucks by a playground, but accidentally pointing to some kids who were playing at that playground instead. Oops. This reminds me of a story from when I was about 5 to 6. I saw that someone had scratched the sentence "duck you little kids" into a piece of playground equipment, and though I didn't exactly know the context as to why, I knew it was a swear word and that the sentence seemed insulting in meaning. As a result, I was absolutely indignant about it. Only, I kept voicing my outrage to everyone I knew by quoting exactly what it said, including the word duck. My parents at one point tried to redirect me to say the letter F instead, to no avail. I asked my dad about this the other day. He said he probably shouldn't have encouraged it, but apparently he'd be with a friend and would ask me, "Hey, what did that person write in the playground?" And I'd go on an angry rant about how they wrote "duck you little kids" and how outraged I was that someone would write something like that in a place where there were these aforementioned little kids. Since this was coming from a 5 to 6 year old, though, it was hilarious and my dad and his friend just laughed their races off. If it makes you feel any better, we went on vacation recently and my 12-year-old nephew asked where we going when we were at the airport. He knew we were going on vacation, but he didn't know where. I've honestly never met a person like him before. He can be so dense it is almost scary. One time we were baking something and he misread the ingredients and was about to put a cup of salt into the dough. Nothing in his brain went, "That sounds like too much salt." He was just ready to pour it in. I used to teach my 5th grade students about personification by pulling out a pencil and explaining how personification is assigning human qualities to objects and such. I'd have them say hi to Larry the pencil and talk about how Larry had dreams of helping us take good notes and maybe draw now and tea. And I'd break it in half mid-sentence. "Lol. Mr. You killed Larry" was always a hoot. It really drove home how powerful a figurative language tool personification was. When I was younger I used a cookie sheet to get snow off my sister's car. I didn't realize until the snow had melted and the paint on the car was dry. I had scratched the clear coat all to hell. She was convinced someone at school keyed her car. My brother and I thought it would be great to clear the ice from my dad's new Ford Ranger in the 90s. We went out and knocked the hell out of that ice without any knowledge of physics. Our dad came out and yelled at us to get inside before we get sick and was left speechless. He witnessed his 2 young kids, one with a monkey wrench and hammer, beating the ice off the truck. The truck looked like it went through a hailstorm the size of baseballs. He was so stunned, he said he didn't know how to punish us. I used to work in a science museum, very popular destination for families, and I can confirm that lots of kids explore the world mouth first. Seriously, anything in public waist height or lower has had a child's mouth on it. The ticket counters especially. While mom is paying, little sissy is sampling the flavors of all the hundreds of other visitors to have touched that counter. I never got sick more often than when I worked at that place. My son took swimming lessons as a 3 to 6 year old. One year a reporter came out to do a story about the pool possibly being closed. Well, the story turned out to be about my son. He took a band-aid off and placed it near the lifeguard stand before lessons began, and after the lessons were over he tried to put it back on. Another day he was the only student without goggles, and he told the instructor that was why he wasn't very good at bobbing. Every day it was something else with him. The good news is he can swim without goggles. When I was in 9th grade, so around 14 to 15, my Spanish class was right after lunch, and I remember that one day there was a kid who went to the wrong lunch period and came to class late. He had an apple and a pack of crackers. We asked him where he got it, and he said that he got the apple from the cafeteria. Regarding the crickers, he found a wrapped pack of crickers in the bathroom. At least it was wrapped, but still. This is a weird thing, but when I was a little kid, I did not like anything that was small like this. It's because I had a fear of shrinking. The scene of the kid shrinking in the Willy Wonka movie was terrifying to me. I had nightmares of shrinking to the size of a bug and yelling out for help, but nobody could hear me. So, tiny figures like this dinosaur could trigger a fear response just because it was similar. Something similar happened in my middle school. All these events occurred on the same day in 2013, although I changed the names. I kept a journal for moments like these. Shelly, if New Year's is January 1st, why is Canada Day on July 1st? Me, because Canada became a country on July 1st. Yaklats. Me, I saw a stupid message on Twitter. It said July 1st Canada's birthday. Happy 2013th birthday Canada. Shelly, that's stupid. Canada is much older. Teacher, when was Canada created? Whole class, July 1st. Teacher, what year? The whole class mumbles an answer before one person begins to answer slowly and everyone else gradually joins in. 2013. Teacher, facepalm. No, Nathan. 2006. Teacher, if you get it wrong again, I'll play another video. Whole class, 1887. Teacher, 1867.